One of the biggest misconceptions that I really want to debunk on today's podcast has to do with supporting small businesses and specifically supporting small businesses on Amazon. One of the things I absolutely love about Amazon is that over half of the businesses that you and I are mostly shopping for on Amazon are actually small business owners. They're like Sammy, who we're about to interview in just a minute, how one of her products on Amazon is a small business that you are actually supporting by shopping on Amazon. And we just got done with the holidays, and I think a big thing I see is like shop small, shop like only support small businesses, like there's a big X when it comes to Amazon. And that's really just not the case. Like you can support small businesses on Amazon. In today's episode of the Rainmaker Family Show, we're going to be interviewing one of our exceptional students, Sammy. And her family actually live in a very remote town in Alaska. And Sammy and her family have actually been shopping on Amazon for the last couple of years because it's their only option. It's either that or driving several hours just to get to the nearest grocery store. And so one of the things as we were interviewing her, I just had this aha moment, whether you live in a big city like Stephen and I do now, or a small remote town like Sammy and her family, you can still support small businesses on Amazon. And today we're diving into Sammy's story, how she has built an amazing brand that we are going to definitely want you to go and follow and support her business, but just her journey in entrepreneurship and what she's been up to even in the last 6 months.
All right. So today on the show, we got a very special guest all the way in from the North Pole. We got Sammy on the show. Welcome, Sammy.
Hi, guys. Welcome. Happy to be here.
Now, Sammy, she has an Instagram, Off-Grid Mommy. She legit lives off-grid near the North Pole or in the North Pole. We were just talking about this in Alaska. Pretty crazy. But she's one of our Rainmakers and someone we wanted to come on and just highlight her story, dig into her entrepreneurial journey, and just hear what's working for her, which might work for you. So, Sammy, thanks for coming on. I want to kind of rewind it back to pre-Rainmakers. Tell us a little bit about what led to you jumping into Rainmakers. When Rainmakers kind of popped across your feet, what was going on in your life? Were you already in a business or looking for a business? Where were you at kind of at that point?
Yeah, so how I sort of got into entrepreneurship is I went to school in Las Vegas. I went to UNLV, go Rebels.
Okay.
I have a degree in journalism and media studies. I was working in Fairbanks, North Pole area, and in that field, in the public relations field. Well, I then met my husband who lives in the middle of nowhere and has a really cool job, and he totally won the points and his place is beautiful. So I opted to move there. And in the small community that he's living, I couldn't necessarily do my job because the commute just didn't make any sense. So I was looking for other ways to utilize my degree, stay in my field, and stay on top of that. And I started working. My current employer was the state of Alaska, and they offered me a job to just work from home. So I've been doing the work from home since 2018 before COVID. And then I wasn't necessarily doing the work that I wanted to do. So I started freelancing in public relations, and I mentored with some local business that I would do. It was my wedding photographer, actually, who I mentored with to kind of learn how to run a business. And I started dabbling in freelance public relations, marketing, and I started doing the photography side of things and wanted to, I had this big vision to interview businesses and take pictures for their content, for their social media and their websites and stuff. But I quickly found that small businesses either don't have the budget for it or don't find the value in that. So I kind of had to pivot. And I had an e-commerce client, and she was my first e-commerce client. And it was around the holidays, and we were wanting to drive traffic to her website because she has such a great mission. And I totally believed in her vision and wanted her to make all this money so she could give back, because she was just one of those leaders who gives back to our community or to anyone else around her. Yeah. Well, we were getting the website clicks from social media and running ads and stuff, but we weren't converting. So the Facebook algorithm, then Rainmakers came across my Facebook
Oh,
feed.
really?
And I clicked on it and was like, oh, I want to learn more about this. I thought maybe it could help that client. But then, of course, naturally, you guys are great at doing this. It inspired myself. I was like, well, why can't I do this? And I had a few clients. I had my state government job. I had given my notice because I just had my second baby. So I had a newborn and an 18-month-old. And then I was like 5 days away from leaving my state job, and I signed up for Rainmakers and then hit the ground running doing that. And
Wow.
here I am today. So yeah, it was actually one of my clients that researching her stuff that then Facebook advertised Rainmakers,
Wow.
and here I am. So that's kind of my journey in a nutshell.
Wow, that's so cool. I know you said you were researching that for your client to help them get more sales on their e-commerce product, but before that, had you ever heard about like Amazon FBA? I'm assuming like Amazon like ships close by to where you live, maybe not directly to your house. I know because you're a little bit more remote, but had you ever like thought about doing that for yourself or known anything about that specifically?
Honestly, I had resisted from online shopping because I had lived in Las Vegas. So if I wanted something, I could just like go to the store and get it. So I was like, no, you want to go in person. You want to help these people save their jobs. Like I was totally on that bandwagon. And then I moved back to Alaska where I was from and was like, oh, I forgot. Like we have nothing here. Like we literally have to order everything. And so, no, like I had no idea that there were small businesses on Amazon, and that's how we were getting
Mm.
our products. Because at that point, I was an Amazon addict. We literally get everything from Amazon. So it was really eye-opening and inspiring to know that you could still be like living in the middle of the woods where you have to climb a 100-foot tree to get cell phone service,
Yeah.
Wow.
so I can go online and order Amazon or work and still be supporting small businesses around the world. And I thought that was amazing.
Hmm.
Wow.
That's something you just said, like, I actually never thought about before how there are so many, because I've never lived in a super remote place. I'd say like we just moved from a smaller town that didn't have a lot, but that's probably nothing in comparison to where you're living now. But like, there's such a beautiful thing about, you know, how like in order to get things conveniently without having to drive like an hour, 2 hours to go places, like you are ordering off of Amazon. But how cool is that you're still being able to support small businesses and like moms like you or families like us or just the hundreds of thousands of people that start an Amazon business. I think that's so cool that even being from a remote like little area to like a huge like city that we live in, like you can still support small businesses across the board. I don't know. I've just like never thought about that. I think it's so cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it is pretty incredible to I guess meet people along this journey. Like I live in a small town, but where I live, we wouldn't consider rural because we're on the road system because 80% of Alaska communities are off the road system. So you can
Right.
only get to them by an airplane. And so I don't necessarily consider myself living remote, but then every time I have to pack my two kids up to go to the grocery store and drive 3 hours, I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I am a little bit remote, but it is pretty incredible to be able to support people from across the United States through,
Hmm.
from anywhere. That's just the technology that we have nowadays.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Do you remember, Sammy, in the early days of kind of learning the curriculum, right? Like product research and, all those things. Was there any moment that was like something really clicked for you? You're like, had an aha moment?
I did. So I was in the season of newborns. I had two kids. I was 33 when I had my first, 34 when I had my second, and then soon met you guys. And so I was like in the season. I thought, I am a new mom. I'm using all of these stuff. I'm going to do a baby product. And I thought that was my niche. I was so like dead set on it. And I was in the research. I was listening to one of the trainings and it was like, do not let, it's a set of like, if you're in helium 10, like I look at every single word, like don't waste the search. And
Yeah.
somehow I came across dry bag. And it must have been like, because, they
Uh,
have like wet bags for diaper bags. I'm sure that's like where it was
yeah.
at.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember, but I clicked on it And we have, because we're a hunting family, my husband's a game warden and a pilot, like we put everything in dry bags. And I had one like just sitting in our laundry room, and it was a gift from someone. And I went and grabbed it, and I was like, oh my gosh. I go, we are like we wouldn't consider ourselves outdoorsy because it's a totally normal thing here. And but like if you
Yeah.
in comparison like would look at us from the outside, like, oh, they're super adventurous, like they go and do all these outdoorsy things. And that was really like my aha moment. And I looked at my innovation, I looked at my husband, I was like, is there a reason why like we couldn't do this? And I'm thinking that he's going, because he's way more outdoorsy than I am. I'm thinking he's going to come back with all of these objections, like, oh, well, this is why, and like totally shoot me down. And he was like, well, no. He goes, I'm actually surprised it hasn't been done. So it was just really cool that I was so dead set on a niche. And then like totally like just that
Yeah.
moment, I was like, no, that's not my niche. That's,
Mm.
I love being a mom. I love having newborns, but that's not my niche. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how it's very on brand for kind of the new brand that you've built on Instagram. We'll definitely talk about Instagram because you're definitely one of these breakout stories. We started, we have listeners who are in the mastermind, people that are not, but we've talked about it on the podcast, like some of the Instagram strategies we've been
Mhm.
sharing. Sammy's been doing this, and as of recording this, she's at like close to 60,000 followers on this Instagram account, Off Grid Mommy. And it's very on brand for this bag. I
Mhm.
know it's not directly selling the bag all the time. However, it's really cool to see that taken off. So we'll get into that. But I want to talk about just, we like to pull out the gold from the entire
Mhm.
journey. Were there any parts that were particularly hard, where there was like a major obstacle that came up for you, a wall, a time you wanted to quit? And what happened? Like you're still here, you're still going. So obviously you kept going, but tell us about that, because I think it's helpful for people to
Mhm.
hear
Yeah.
the journey, not just the highlights.
Yeah, and it probably all ties back to mindset, but I'll start from the beginning. I honestly, the finances, capital, I'm running one business. I'm trying to be like a fully present mom, so I've only got like little pockets of time. And then fun fact about living off grid, we have solar and a generator, so we can only do things at certain times. Like I have a
Oh,
very
yeah.
small window, especially in Alaska where we get like 3-4 hours of sunlight a day.
Mm.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to do laundry and do the dishes and take a shower and bathe my kids like all during this time. So during the course of this, I've actually become very good at block scheduling, like scheduling my time. Like I have 10 minutes to do this and to do this. So thank you for that, because I was not that way before. But it all came down to, I'm trying to run this other business so I can contribute to our household income, but also have enough money to pay for this venture, because when I went into this, we knew it was a long-term thing, that we weren't going to start instantly seeing returns right away. But as long as we kept at it, like we know we'd be rewarded for it. And so I'm trying to not burden the financial stuff for this particular business venture on my husband, because he's, focusing on taking care of our family. And so I think it was July. I was having I was mowing the lawn outside. My kids were sleeping, and I was just having this moment like, I don't have any more money. Like, I know I have stuff that I have to pay. The 0% card is getting ready to run out. And I just took a deep breath and was like, I need to start like focusing on mindset or something. So I started attending more of those, and I've taken another mastermind to get into my first business. And I remember like my exit survey was, what do you wish you did more? And it was prioritize the mindset, because I feel like that's such an easy thing to get bogged down on. And I remember just like walking away my lawn saying, I'm a money magnet. I'm a money magnet. I will find money. And I had a few clients that for my other business that were just super behind on paying their invoices. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to pay a single bill. But then it all worked out. It was so crazy. It was like, I'm
Wow.
getting ready. My 0% card is getting ready to end, and I've got bills coming up, my car payment. But like somehow, like all these clients like paid their bills. I had a new client that wanted to sign up, and I paid off that card. I could have just completely crumbled in that moment. And
Mhm.
I wanted to curl up and be like, I'm sorry, husband. I completely like just spent all of our money on this venture, and now I need you to bail me out. But I didn't have to do that. Like I chose to, start listening to more mindset, joining those, doing my own on the side, and walk around literally saying, I'm a money magnet. I'm going to find something. and it's going to work. But I'd say that's probably pretty relatable, as people are so like, stuff is so expensive now. So it's hard to think, even like imagine starting, putting money towards something else, like when you're just trying to survive in other areas. But it worked out, and I'm so happy it did. And then I had actually, I can't believe I forgot about this. I had another business refer me. They wanted to buy 530 of my bags for Christmas
Wow.
presents for their employees. So
Dang,
I
that's
had
cool.
not on Amazon. It was, a business that was right here. They wanted to buy somewhat from someone local, especially in the town right near where their job site is at. And they wanted to support that. And so I started that. And that really just kind of set the tone for it reassured me and validated my decision. Like, yes, I can do this. But
Wow.
in July, I thought I was done. I thought I was going to crumble and not do anything because of the stress of the finances. But I just kept at it. I kept doing what we're taught. I kept doing like what you're taught from your parents growing up, like perseverance, and everything worked out.
That's awesome.
Thank you for sharing that story. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's
I remember
super
growing.
relatable with
Yeah.
anybody in any business at
Yeah.
any level. There's always like
A freak out
the
moment.
freak out moments, whether it's finances or a launch or an email that got sent that shouldn't have been sent, or like sent at the wrong time. Like there's always those moments. And I think if you run the course, things do work out, like, or it's like a lesson too of like, oh, I'm going to do it slightly different in this way, or it builds your confidence, or there's always something in it. So I think what you shared though is
Yeah.
so relatable. So many people go through moments of like stress. How am I going to pay this? It's like, I know that if I just keep going, it'll be here, but also I have these things happening. And so thank you for sharing.
A way to lean in. And so
Yeah.
for people listening, we have Mindset Monday calls every Monday, 2 times a Monday. And I remember around that time, I think it was Melissa did a training. And that was one of the things. She was like, hey, just say I'm a money magnet. And it was so funny because people just started like really like just taking that, running with it. And then people were posting in the group like finding money and like random stuff happening. It was just like, it's just so funny how sometimes where you focus your attention, things will multiply, And so that's awesome to hear. And how cool about that bulk order, kind of the wholesale order that came through. What other like moments have been big wins or breakthroughs, or kind of like something you've been really proud of in the journey of building this business so far?
Something that I'm really proud of is the person that I've become, because I am I am the person that I have no problem vegging out on the couch watching TV. I know that's not great for my kids. So like when we talk about screen time around my house, like I am the culprit. It is me. And I've learned to manage my time because of having my kid. And like partially, I've heard this from other moms, like once you have kids, like you get so much more done in such a short amount of time than you would have taken you like all day to do. But I kind of started both my businesses and becoming a mom around the same time. So I just like, if you would have, like, I'm not the same person as I was in 2020 versus like who I started to become when I first became pregnant in 21. And then when I started my first business, and now to today. And I'm no longer a procrastinator. If I have 5 minutes, I sit down, I do something for 5 minutes, and I'm 5 minutes more ahead than if I would have just been like, sorry, not going to do it. And so really, I just feel like I've completely changed as a person. I'm more conscientious. I'm more intentional. And, even like the one thing I always say is like, I could be a better housewife because cleaning isn't fun. And so I tend to put that lower on my, if I could outsource that, that'd be like the first thing that I'd outsource. But that's not a thing when you live in the middle of Alaska, in the middle of the wilderness. But yeah, I'd say overall, just me, like I've just become a completely different person. I'm sure you guys are probably different people from running your different businesses that you have, and just learning how to manage time, but still be intentional and still like, I think it's incredible that I can live in the middle of the woods and still do everything that I went to school for, and use the technology and lean into all the resources that we have, and show my kids and my family that, it doesn't matter where you live. Like, don't sacrifice your happiness of wanting to live somewhere because you could legit do it from anywhere. And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
testament to that. So
Any seasoned entrepreneur will tell you it's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep. We got to increase your income while decreasing your expenses. So what if there's a way to decrease your taxes, to protect you against liability, and to open up doors to business funding for your business? This is where our friends at Prime Corporate Services come in handy. They're experts and they help our Rainmakers get structured in the right way. We worked out a deal with them just for our Rainmaker community to get you a free complimentary consultation with one of their experts. If you're starting a business and you want to get all your ducks in a row when it comes to the legal entity for your business structure, these guys are the go-to. If for a similar package, you would pay like $1,200 on LegalZoom, but this company gives our Rainmaker family a serious hookup. Not only can Prime help you out with getting all your business entities set up, they can help you with your taxes as your business is rolling, and eventually help you with even estate planning for your family legacy. We put all the info on rainmakerfamily.com/deals. Go there, you can book a free complimentary consultation with Prime Corporate and get set up today. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals. That's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
I think I did go on a tangent. Sorry, I don't know.
No,
if I
that was
answered your
great.
question.
That was
So
amazing.
good.
I want to talk a little bit about the Instagram thing because this is kind of a newer strategy. We've been experimenting with it for our brand over the last couple of years. And then this summer, we're like, hey, we got to teach this to our Rainmakers. You know, we saw advertising costs rising on Amazon. We're like, we got to find a way to help people drive traffic off Amazon. And so we did this thing called the 30-day downpour. So it was like 30 days of leading in and kind of learning this new strategy. And you were part of that initial group, right? That initial
Yeah.
30 days. So that
Yeah.
was like July, maybe? I'm trying to think. It was probably July.
Mhm. I think so.
I think it
So
was because I was launching, I'm pretty sure. Because I
okay,
was like,
yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
I can do this because I've got other things. But then I figured it out.
So we're recording this in January. So this is like 6 months ago. Tell me what you thought when you first started learning some of those strategies. Because basically, in a nutshell, for listeners who are kind of catching up, we were teaching how to really build influence on Instagram and really grow an Instagram channel, but kind of doing it in a non-conventional way that doesn't hopefully require as much time as being like a full-time content creator. Now, I know your account is a little bit of a hybrid, but when you started hearing this Instagram thing, tell me what you were thinking.
So honestly, I was thinking like, oh, great. Like, here we go. Because I'm in that field. Like I do those
Yeah.
things for clients and I went to school for it. And even though, I graduated, I went to college a little later in life because I'm in my mid-30s, but now, but they had like maybe one social media class when I was there. So
Mhm.
that's how much it kind of evolves since then. But I was like, I've been in this industry, like I haven't been able to crack the code. It's constantly changing. And the only reason why I had Instagram and Facebook is so I could manage other people's accounts because of
Okay, yeah.
my profession. But I knew like as the marketer, as someone who has gone to school for that, like I knew like my businesses needed it and I've just been sort of neglecting them. And it's been okay. It's been working for me, but you can only ride that so long. So I like as a small business owner, like understand like not wanting to prioritize it because it can be overwhelming, but then also like knowing the other side of me, like the person, let me put my marketing hat on, like this is so important, you need to do it. And so
Yeah.
I hated Instagram. I think I've told you that before. I didn't even
Yeah.
like opening the app because I've tried to grow multiple accounts and I've had some success, but I think it was more luck than strategy at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the big question we started asking ourselves before that with our team was like, we knew that social media could be this opportunity, but one of the things we do at Rainmakers is like, how do we do it easier? Like, how do we have it time leverage? Because we work with moms and families. And me and Chelsey both have been in that season where you're just like doing all the most time consuming things on Instagram. And it's just like taking your life away. And so we were like, how do we do this? And then Instagram made this algorithm change. So we started teaching this strategy. So you're doing this on Off-Grid Mommy, this kind of hybrid strategy. And we've seen some breakout stories. I think yours is the winner so far though, as far as number of followers. I mean, 60,000 in 6 months, pretty crazy. How has that been and what opportunities has that opened up for you? Like when it comes to just, I mean, I'm sure it was unexpected and now it's like this whole other thing. So yeah, I just want to hear from you because I haven't checked in with you on this really personally yet.
Yeah. So, well, where do I start? Where do I begin? First of all, just to how time consuming it is, I've even like stopped offering it to clients because I'm like, all right, like I'm not in a season where I can focus on this and like do other stuff. So I don't even offer that as social media manager as as oh my gosh, service anymore. But
Yeah.
I might now that I've kind of got a rhythm going on. But I've been really kind of enjoying it actually. So I've been taking. I'm very much a rule follower. I read manuals, and so if there is something up like step by step, I'm like, yes, let's do it. And so I followed the curriculum that you guys set out for this strategy, and then I really followed the analytics of it, and I figured out
Mhm.
like which ones got me more engagement, which ones got me more followers. And once I kind of like cracked that code, but something that's I think really important that what I find people are taking too literal, and this is like in our group and like the professional world is, and even myself is I was trying to find this niche and I've always had off grid mommy. My husband like totally teases me about it because he's like off grid mommy. I was like, we live off grid, but it's like he grew up here. So this is like totally,
Yeah.
totally normal. This is that we live in the house that dad built. So I was like really trying to lean into like the off grid lifestyle, but I had to have kind of like a check in moment with myself. And because I wasn't feeling really super passionate about it. And I was trying to see like other accounts that what like kind of content they were posting. And there was a lot of like homesteading and like survival stuff, like people making like bunker houses and that stuff was doing great, but like that's not what I'm passionate about. Like we're a huge
Mhm.
aviation family. We have an airplane and an airstrip, and like our off grid is like going hunting and going fishing. Like my husband teases me that I'm like forget I'm a mom when we're ice fishing. Like like the kids like they're you like I'm fishing. This is my happy place. But so I had to check in moment that I couldn't do the off-grid content. It was kind of draining me because that like I live here because it makes my husband happy. I think it's super beautiful. I'm pretty easygoing and can be happy anywhere. And I'm not living here because I want to be like this like super great homesteader. So I had to really like dig deep, like why is this important? And I really wanted to do something with my daughter. And that's when I started going on Pinterest and looking for like outdoor stuff that I could do with my kids that we were already doing. We go to there's a river in our backyard. So we go outside and we walk to the river and we do these things. And I did. It was and like this was the post that like kind of set things off. Was it was a nature wand, and where you just take like a willow stick, a bendable stick, and you can tie it together and then add some either contact paper or tape. And then like I handed her the stick and I said, hey, go pick some leaves, find some pine cones, like anything, and then put it in this wand. And I recorded it and posted it. And that was, like, how off-grid mommy became,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, great." I was like, "I got, like, 10,000 followers from this one
Wow.
post," and there was obviously some negative stuff. People are like, "Oh, you're killing nature." I'm like, "Okay, all this is
Yeah.
gonna be under snow in, like, 2 weeks, so I'm not super worried about the the couple leaves that
Yeah.
she's picking." But then I started doing more of that content. So like I would I'd kind of go find like you guys teach in that strategy is find similar activities that were popular and I'd either recreate those. And then I'd also like throw in the remixes of my account is like content for family inspired by nature. So I like to make people laugh. I usually am the type of person that uses humor as a coping mechanism. So I would, yeah, figured out what with your strategy, like what worked for my account and what got me the most followers and engagement that provided value because ultimately that was I wanted to be able to include my kids, which I'm kind of battling myself back and forth of putting my kids out there. So that's something that parents definitely want to think about. And my husband's in law enforcement, but I didn't want it to take time away from her and my kids. I have my almost 2-year-old now. She can actually probably participate, but she was pretty young at the time still. But so yeah, I think the last time I looked, like 34 million accounts reached in the last 30 days or something. And
Yeah.
and I haven't even been posting that much because like we were talking before the show, like it's been a season of sickness for everyone. And so I was like kind of just posting as I could. And we weren't really doing that many like craft activities for me to post. And so I kind of leaned into the strategy that you guys have to repurpose some content and then or recreate content that was easy. And I was still able to like maintain the growth that I've been having. And yeah, I'm almost at 60,000. But the biggest thing that happened, I actually had a reality show reach out to me wanting me to
Wow.
audition. And and this was a couple, I think, like, at the beginning of December, like, right when we were starting all this sickness, and I tried to do, because you never know if, like, this stuff is
Yeah.
scammy, so I was, like, doing, like, the background research, like, okay, I was like, "Is this real?" Like, being and I'm still kind of skeptical about it,
Yeah.
but they're wanted me to audition, and I was like, "Okay, they're not asking me for, like, my social to transfer any money or anything like, scammers typically do," so I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure. I can, schedule a call or a Zoom or something." And I never heard from them. So I was like, "Okay, cool. It must have been a scam." But earlier in the week, they reached out to me, the producer did, and I went onto the network, and like everything is so far lining up. And so I
Wow.
have an audition. I won't say the show right at this moment, just in case it is a scam, and
Yeah.
I'll save myself the embarrassment. But so yeah, on Thursday, I'm going to
Dang.
audition for this reality show. And it's just like where you go and film for like 6 days. It's not like anything super.
Yeah.
I'm not in a season where I can like leave my family or anything. But so I mean, they would have never, they specifically wanted contestants from Alaska because it's an
Mm.
underserved state. They don't typically
Oh,
have people from Alaska. And in my experience of living other places, people do find Alaska fascinating, even though, like, I
yeah.
think it's a very normal place to live.
Yeah.
Like us,
Yeah.
we find it very fascinating. Like, what more questions can I ask Sammy
Ah,
about
I
living
know. It's so
more
cool.
off grid?
Well, what a
So,
cool opportunity.
yeah.
And have you seen a little crossover? 'Cause that's really the intention, right? To build a brand on, build influence on Instagram and then send it to a product like, on Amazon or digital product, or physical, digital, or affiliate. Have you seen any way where you've been able to start sending sales over there? I know it's still probably early, but yeah, how's that been working for you?
Yeah, so I did, like, per the 30-day downpour, I did create a digital product. So I made a nature activity workbook for kids. It's
Mhm.
basically just like a workbook that has different things that you could do outside, scavenger hunts, and help parents like not have to sit there and think about like, okay, what am I going to do with my kid outside? And so I made that, and I've posted it very little because I think my biggest challenge is, even though I'm a content writer, I don't feel like I'm super confident. So like doing it for myself, and this is where I know I need to outsource. Like I know I need to like hire a VA to do this for me because it's my hang up now. Like it's getting bogged down to me. But when it felt natural, I have made some content about either my dry bag on Amazon or the nature activity pack. And I made a few $100s for my digital product. And I'm saying
Cool.
like I've maybe posted about it 5 times, but one of those posts got like 2 million views or something.
Wow.
So that helped. And then I've set up my attribution link for my dry bag, and I think maybe $400 or $500 from
Wow. Cool.
I haven't checked in a little bit, but yeah, over the course of since July when I started doing this, yeah, it was I think $400 or $500 I've driven
Wow.
myself. And like I said, I'm still feeling like I was more growing and getting engagement and
Yeah.
focusing on the nature stuff that I'm still trying to work out like how these fit in naturally. And that's just a me
Yeah.
hang up, not necessarily the system hang up. It's just me trying
Yeah.
to figure
Cool.
out my voice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's awesome.
That's very cool. Well, it's definitely an asset you're building, and
Mhm.
I think it'll serve you for years to come. So, way to go, sticking with it, and that's awesome. What would be okay? Last question. What would be like if you could go back to the beginning of your Rainmaker journey and talk to Sammy back then? What would be like one piece of advice you might give her going into the journey of building a business online?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that because I think if I could go back, I would honestly tell myself to be honest about my why, like what drives
Mhm.
me. Because I, at the time, felt like, and don't judge me, I felt like the right answer was to save for my kids. But everything I do in my life is for my kids. So that is going to happen regardless. So
Um,
throughout this journey, I've tried to kind of dig deeper into what my actual why is. Like I didn't know if it was like, I want to keep my identity. I want to, there were just all kinds of things that I'd wrestled with. And I had sort of a moment when things felt really stressful is I took a picture of myself right before I joined Rainmaker, and I said, I'm going to buy my husband a new airplane. Like that is
Right.
my goal. Like he supports our family. He's in law enforcement. I know his cup. He's going on his 18th year in law enforcement. I know his cup is empty. Now he has a family. We've got 7 miles of road to plow and firewood to cut, and he just doesn't get a lot of time to do the things that he enjoys doing. And we have and like when I say airplane, like I'm not talking like a jet. Like we have like
Yeah.
one like think of like a bush plane, like a small. We have a
Yeah. Yeah.
Citabria. It's a 2-seater, front and the back. But our family is obviously grown, so when we go do like hunting or go fishing or something, we used to be able to just like kind of play hooky from work, and we could jump in and go fishing for the day and then come back. But with kids and stuff, it's obviously there's a lot more stuff, and which is one of the
Yeah.
driving forces of my dry bag is to condense stuff. And then also there's more trips because he has to get us there. So we can't just like run and do something. And so I want to get him a bigger plane, and I want to be able to fill his cup. And I had to kind of wrestle with myself a little bit that that's okay, that that's my why, that it's not like, I want a better life for my kids. My kids have a good life, and I know they're going to have a good life because I know me. So I needed to like really be honest, because if it's not like truly your why, like that's not what's going to be what drives you. And you're going to have more of those like in the slump moments. And so I think I would give myself permission to like, to not like go with what the expected answer, like what I thought the expected answer should be, and like really drive down into it. Cause I think I've only just recently like figured my why is to support him, help him fill his cup, because he dedicates his entire life to giving to other people. He serves the Alaska residents as a law enforcement officer. He's goes and finds people who are missing, and probably so many other crazy things that we could never imagine unless you were like in the military or first responder. So that was my why, but it very much started out with I thought it should be my kids, and it wasn't. So
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah, that realization is small, but I love that you're just like, no matter what, my kids they're gonna have this life because I'm driven and I know that I can provide. But what beyond that, like, what is that driving for? So that's beautiful and such good like honesty and things that you find only in the process once you get going. So thank you so much, Sammy, for sharing so much of your journey and your life too. I love hearing what you guys are up to and how this business and what you've been able, different businesses you've been able to create and support and do can really be done from anywhere. So I think that's so encouraging. And make sure to follow Sammy on Instagram. I love her Instagram. And go ahead and shout it out one more time if there's any listeners that want to follow along and see what you're up to.
yeah, you can follow me. I'm primarily on Instagram now, even though I was never on it before. At Off Grid Mommy. I also have Off Grid Mommy on TikTok and Pinterest and pretty much anywhere else. Peloton too, but Off Grid Mommy on Instagram. You can see what we're up to. And yeah, thank you for having me. And thank you for everything, because I feel like I've discovered a lot of myself through hanging out with your community.
Oh,
No,
love it,
that's so
Sammy.
cool.
And you've been an awesome contributor and just giver in the community. I always see just positive things
Mhm.
around your name and just inspiring other Rainmakers. I know this episode will. So thank you so much for spending time. And I know it's probably not super easy to drive and get Wi-Fi and all the things. So thank you for doing this. And if you're listening to this show and you're inspired, definitely share it with a friend on their entrepreneurial journey who needs a little bit of inspiration today. And with that, we'll see you on the next episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. Bye-bye.